welcome Nada, who will present about the competitions.
Why, thank you. It's super cool to be here. I have some really great opportunities that I'm excited to share with you all. And they're a little bit diverse, but they're all common themed because it's about SCEED. So just to tell you a little bit about what is SCEED. I've been working on creating an entrepreneurial program since 2015. It's 10 years now. And I've been really fortunate to have the best boss of my life with Manel, the provost of Crown College, and who's also the faculty director of the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurial Development. And so I am an entrepreneur. I've had my own businesses since I was a little kid. My parents are entrepreneurs. We actually got here to America. I'm an immigrant. I was a little baby. I was 2 years old when we immigrated because my parents had an incubator and sold chicks. And that was a side hustle that actually got them enough money to be able to buy 4 tickets for me and my sister to get to the United States. And they were in a communist country. So when I do entrepreneurship, I'm not a capitalist. I'm more of a socialist, leaning towards Marxist kind of gal, per the UCSC. They really like us. And so, a lot of my colleagues are like, oh, entrepreneurship, oh, and it's like, no, I'm not Satan. I'm not a capitalist. Although I am taking a group of kids to the venture capital investment competition happening this Saturday, which is super exciting at Brigham Young. This will be our 2nd year in a row to go. But I believe that you can use venture capital for impact and for actual justice, making the world a better place, which is actually what I think about entrepreneurship. I think about entrepreneurship as people that are problem solvers, that see a problem and think of a solution and figure out if they can make, a living off of it. That's what to me, that's what it's all about. And that's what you all are here to do. And so the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurial Development actually is one of the oldest centers in the United States on a college campus. It was one of the first. It was created in 1979, and it was created by this guy named Napinder Kapani, who was the father of optic cable. I don't know, 100 patents. You got to look him up. He's incredible. He taught physics here. And he looked around and he's like, there's no entrepreneurship education on this campus. Let's do something. Let's make it. And it went really high for a while, but you can imagine of 45 years, later, 44 years later, it's had some dips and some, slowdowns. And then Manel and I took over 4 years ago and have been just wanting to push it like as far as we can go. And so when I got hired to teach radio at KZSC. I was a KZSC person. I got my master's here in digital arts and new media. While I was here, I was like, hey, I want to get into the radio. So I got into the radio. I'm a radio head since I was in college. I did radio up at Calix at UC Berkeley. Anyways, I love radio. And so I got hired to teach the class. And I'm like, I got to meet my boss. Like, I was so excited. This class, I wanted to teach. I love teaching. It fell from heavens for me. So I want to go meet the guy, Manel. And Manel had just been hired as provost. Both of us didn't know that. Like, we just met each other. We figured we'd both been around for a while. And I said, hey, Manel, he goes, what do you want, Nada? And I said, I want to teach full time. He goes, okay, well, if you could teach anything, if you had all the resources, what would you want to teach? And I said, I want to teach entrepreneurship. And he was like, I want you to teach entrepreneurship. And he was so excited because he was looking for somebody to do that. And so we started our first class. It was Crown 90. It's an ideation class. It was the first entrepreneurship class for anybody on campus. And there was entrepreneurship being taught like in engineering, in the sustainability, but you had to be studying that. Like, it wasn't open to everybody. And we really believe that, in fact, some of the best entrepreneurs are actually musicians and artists. And, you know, you wouldn't believe how many psychology students we get. Like some of our best students are psychology students, you know. So in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter what you're studying. There could be a way that you could be making a living off of that. In fact, I would say artists need to be entrepreneurs. They are entrepreneurs. They're their own brand, really. And so we did that class, and then it was like, wow. And I got really lucky because I got it straight from Steve Blank. So my first class was like a direct open source content from Steve Blank online. I just followed I followed the instructions. I got trained to do it at UC Berkeley, and it was the best. And I didn't even know it, but I validated 10 years later, I realized that it was the best, the best process. The lean startup has taken over the world. The business model canvas is the language for all entrepreneurs, no matter where you are. And that's just the way it is. I got really lucky. I picked the right one. I also picked Zoom in 2016 because the first class was online. And somehow, because I was at Stanford and they were doing Zoom. So cut to the chase, we've got 10 classes now. We're submitted for a certificate program. The school wants us to do a minor. They want to be able to open this up. And I know there's people that would love for it to be a minor as well. And the big difference is all of our classes are project-based, experiential. A lot of times they call them flipped classroom, meaning that you don't learn it here. You actually have to go out there, do your customer discovery, and then bring it back to us, and we help you like go through the data, sift through it, synthesize it, analyze it, see if it's actually good data that can help you build the best business model possible before you spend any money. That's the lean startup. That's what we want us to do. We want you to make an MVP out of cardboard until you've got that product market fit done. And so we've been hiring people. I can't teach all the class. I'm not even teaching very many classes anymore. I teach the new ones. I make a class, I teach it, I make sure it's good, and then I give it to somebody like Jeremy or Wayne, or any of the people, Katie, Yulia, all of those people I've helped develop the class, and then train them to, because the beauty of it is that you're getting real entrepreneurs who are talking to you. These are people that have experience. It's not in the book. And entrepreneurship can't be in the book. It's not a book thing. It's not rocket science. And now like people are coming to us, right? So at first we were like going out and doing outreach and begging people to help us. And now it's like we get people like, hey, we heard your center is doing really well. So we got Rick Vargas, who worked with Apple, was Steve Jobs' creative director for many years. He retired here. I said, hey, what do you want to do? He said, I want to teach a class. I'm like, all right. So we make a class, Marketing for Good. Yulia is one of the co-founders of Get Virtual. I don't know how we got Shri, but we got really lucky with Shri Rao, who's going to be teaching 2 new classes. One is venture funding specifically, which I think is something that had been missing from our, I'm trying to get a really systemic view of what are all the different entrepreneurship classes that you all need to have, to be ready to both decide which part of it you want to take on, and also be ready to do it, and do it actually. When I first started Crown 90, I called it a simulation. And I realized very quickly it was not a simulation. People love their ideas. They want to keep going with them, right? And so it's not a simulation. It's a real, you're vetting your idea and you're making it grow. And so what do you need next? Well, you need operations. How do you build it after you've got a good idea? How do you get funding? Another class that we're going to be doing is another internship with industry, where it's around geolocation. Shri is teaching it, but it's an industry partnership. And so, yeah, it's just been super, super cool. What I wanted to show you was, oh yeah, and we just won this big award. We got this excellence in entrepreneurship, teaching and pedagogical innovation. And the people that actually got the bigger prize out of Loyola University, I just saw, I got totally like on fire for a class that they're teaching there. And what I want to do here is actually make it like you get real money and you actually vet and fund local businesses or each other, right? So I want to do Ishan. I don't forget what you tell me. And Ishan told me last year, is like, I want to fund for ski, and I'm like, yes. So maybe it's not happening as fast as you'd like, but I'm working on it. Yeah. And I'm trying to get Smeet's dad to be be one of our entrepreneurship angel investor instructors, and yeah. So anyways, we're building, and if there's anything that we're missing, just let me know and we'll make it happen. And at least we'll get you a workshop if we don't get you a class. So one of the guys that I don't you see that. One of the guys that we met today actually is this guy named, can you see that? No, it's other way. Is this guy named Peter Pizarris. Peter was sent to us by Jim Whitehead, who's the head of CS, or he's way up there, he's dean of students or something. When I first came, he was just a professor making the program. He made the whole gaming program. Jim Whitehead. I don't know if y'all know Jim Whitehead. Anybody?
Assistant dean.
Yeah, something like that. Something highfalutin. So this guy is Jim Whitehead's one of his best friends from junior high. And Peter is a entrepreneur. He is about to exit his 5th company. And it started when he was in college at Carnegie Mellon. He got a group of friends who decided they wanted to build something. And they continue to build with each other. They've been building through these, this will be their 5th exit that they built together. They met in college and they just clicked as a team. And he wants to work with you all. He's moving to the area. And so this newest venture that he's got, that he's doing customer discovery for. And so he asked me to reach out to you for customer discovery. And so it's a SaaS startup that is trying to make he was talking about going viral and how you sign up on websites. Most of his websites have been SaaSes and have been website based. And so it's this viral growth engine that allows you to really help your sign up be easy and actually catch steam. And so he told me that I could show you his pitch deck. And so I just wanted to show you his pitch deck because I thought it was really interesting. This is his pitch deck. And so I want to just show it to you because it's exactly what we're teaching you here at UCSC and what they're teaching you here at SCEE. It's the same thing that they're going to ask you to do for Slug Tank. It's the same thing that they're going to ask you to do for Launchpad. And it's the same thing they're going to ask you to do for eFest, which is another opportunity I'm going to show you as soon as I show you this, this vortex. So the deal is they are doing customer discovery. And what they're offering is a half-hour meeting. The first half hour, 15 minutes, they're going to ask you questions about how you need something like this. And then the second half of it would be you telling them where you're at and them giving you entrepreneurial mentorship. So it's a win-win. They get their data and their goal is to talk to 50 companies in the next month. And so I told him I would be happy to reach out. And when I went through like the demo guys, it seemed like everybody could use both sides of it. Them needing you, and you might get something good. In fact, I'm pretty sure you'll get something good out of meeting with them. So this is the value proposition, right? This is, and I'm going to share this with you all. User relationship management. I don't know why it's not going. Hold on, let me see. Well, I'll just how it works. You install it. There's a training mode. There's a co-pilot, and then there's the autopilot. Evolution, their global sales, TAM target. They've already, I think you said they got $20 million before their first seed. These guys have been together for 20 years. They've made over $400 million. That's the team. And their milestones, what's the journey, where they're at. I mean, this, right? This looks familiar to you, doesn't it? It's just exactly what you're doing. Anyways, so just drop me a line if you want to talk with him and I'll connect you to. Any questions on this? Okay. So next, what I want to show you is this eFest. So I got really privileged and I got to go to India in December to go to an entrepreneurship convention in Bangalore. It was 8,000 people, entrepreneurship. It was really exciting and really amazing and mind-blowing. And somehow, people wanted, somehow I ended up on a stage and kept talking to people and they seemed to really like it. The students don't have these classes there. They don't teach it in undergraduate. You don't get the lean startup until you're in a private MBA school in India. People are changing that. I went to an elementary school where they're actually bringing it into elementary, junior high, and high school. So these kids are thinking about problem solving from kindergarten. But that was a very, I think, unique and amazing thing. So while I was there, I met a bunch of other entrepreneurship educators from across the United States. And one of the people told me about eFest. I had never heard about eFest, and she said that it was the best competition in the United States. And not only it's the process and the things, kind of the exercises they put you through. It's a 3-day event where you come in and the first thing you do is you craft an elevator pitch, and that's the first contest. And then you continue having contests the whole day. They will pay our plane tickets. They will pay for our hotel. They're paying me to just talk to you, just to try to get it started. You can take a look at their website. It's very interesting. And so we've never done it before, but I would love for y'all to give it a try. You have what it takes. You already have the pitches. And so the submitting your pitch is between now and March 2nd. So you've got a couple more weeks. But again, like I said, y'all have it and you're doing it for Slug Tank. Might as well throw it in. It's free. You're not going to
It's really March 3rd. Yeah, it's the same date.
And then they'll have the finalists. There'll be 25 that they choose from across the United States. And then the actual eFest is April 24th through April 26th. What do you need to do? This is kind of the shorthand, is create a pitch deck that has no more than 15 slides. Produce a 7-minute video about the pitch deck. So basically taking them through your pitch deck. So it's a 7-minute pitch deck that you're doing. And then you complete the online submission. And then I'm the advisor, so I would approve that you're a part of UCSC and that you're a real student, not an AI chatbot or whatever. So you have to be undergraduates, you have to be attending a 4-year college. You got me. Teams have to be at least 2, but no more than 5. And you have to agree that you'll allow them to use your video if you win. So again, this is 15-minute slide. Yeah, I already told you that. Okay, so I was just going to show you, again, I'll share this with you, but it's, let me just get to the slide deck here. So first slide, usual, and then you have your opening overview. This is where you're painting the picture and making it attention grabbing. You're telling that story, like, my brother was blind and I needed to help him see. I mean, you know, those kinds of things. They're really powerful and emotional. Then through the story, you're identifying that real need. You're identifying that problem, and that could be either has not been solved or could be solved better. You're saying who's the customer, how do they experience the problem? Who was it? There was somebody at demo day that did a really good job of painting a picture, and it made it a really compelling. I have to think about it for a second, but I was like impressed actually. I was impressed with all of you. All the demo people were very impressive. I loved it. But there was one in particular that had a really great story for an opening. And then you justify the revenue model. You know, why would they pay for it? Then if you have an MVP, and again, it could be just, you know, scratched, handwritten, or wireframes. Because one of the main things that I really was hoping, if y'all leave tonight with anything, if you remember anything from what I said tonight, is not to build your product until you've done your customer discovery. These guys, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about Peter and Vortex. These guys have been doing it for 20 years. They've been really successful, and they keep their customer discovery is of prime importance in getting that product market fit before building it. I know building is really fun, and I feel like part of me is like, yeah, build it. If you're lit on it, build it, right? But you know, you might fall in love with it, and then you won't really hear your customers say they really want this other feature. There's a lot of things. You just want to be open to hearing people say they want something else. It's really hard. Yeah, so if it's a hardware, doing some kind of illustration, if it's a process, some kind of diagram, you know what an MVP is. Minimum viable product. And then the value proposition, you all know this. Why your solution is solving it, how it's specifically beneficial, what's the differentiator, why are you better than the competition, show how it's better than alternatives. Then you want to explain why you're the team to do it. Why are you the ones? Maybe you have the most emotional need for this to be built or solved. And why, you know, this might be hard because sometimes you can't show it is a really easy solution. And what you would say then is that you just got to be first to market, and that you need the money you need it now before somebody sees it and steals it. So there is still a way, if it is an easy solution, that I think that you could argue. You know, you're always looking for your competition. It's one of the first things you're going to do. You come up with an idea, you start thinking about who it could help, and then you look around and see who's doing it. So referencing your competitive advantage, and show how your company is an improvement over the competitors' offerings. You know, you might show some kind of positioning matrix. I know I've seen you all do this kind of slide where you're summarizing, you know, it could be a grid, you know, it could be simple, or it could be some kind of matrix.
That's what it's called, competitive positioning matrix. Because you're wondering what it's called.
There you go, the competitive positioning matrix. I would just call it a competitive. When I teach it, I just make a grid. I don't make them do a but yeah. Then you want to provide you know, market research. So you've talked to people, You know that the problem exists. You have anecdotes of people telling you their eyes getting really wide. Oh my God, I love it. I want it yesterday. That's how I felt with NetLinked. I was like, oh my God, I needed that yesterday. And then, you know, what's the total available market? How much is being actually currently spent in this industry? And why, you know, timing can be the big key factor in why something fails. There's a video that I always show my students where it's this TED video of this guy who I think started IDEO and who's did this whole study on why great startups fail, and timing was the biggest thing. Because you're maybe too far ahead technologically. You know, there was a really great video streaming company that failed that should have made it, had all kinds of, you know, money, had influencers, but less than 50% of the US didn't have broadband yet. And so it just took too long because it was dial-up. So streaming just wasn't there yet, right? 6 months later, a year later, 7 years later, no, not that far, but you know, later, you know, YouTube comes along and it was at the exact right time. There was over 50%. And when YouTube started, they didn't have a business plan. They didn't have revenue stream. They didn't have a business model. They just kind of fell into it. Now look at them. So explaining how many people, getting your numbers around it. And that all goes back to being really clear on who are your customer segments and how well can you define that customer segment so that you can actually get numbers around how many of those people there are. And then again, timing. You know, some people, I don't know, I don't think you have to show your business model canvas. Some people actually, in fact, his dad says don't show the BMC, but you can still describe your business model, right? So you're just basically showing your business model in a different way. Yes, I mean, you already showed us what the value proposition is. You already showed us what your customers are. You know, figuring out how people are going to pay for it, and what's the revenue streams, and what are the largest costs. So you can at least get some kind of like easy kind of, I'm actually going to be able to make a profit. Or, you know, in the United States, it takes 3 to 5 years to make a profit on any startup. So being able to show that you will eventually make money, maybe not right away. Steve or Jeff Bezos and Amazon, it took 10 years before they made any money. And it was Amazon Web Services that ended up making them money. And then you introduce your team. And then do a summary, you know, have that positioning statement. I call it a business thesis. I like to start with the business thesis. They're asking you to do it at the end. And then this is an effective slide deck, that one, and then you could actually get other legendary pitch decks. Yeah.
I was wondering, what is the business thesis again? Like what?
So the business thesis is basically where you're saying who you are, what you're making it for, and why would they buy it.
But the previous slides, isn't that kind of what we?
Yeah, but that's a summary.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's where you're just saying it succinctly. Like I said, I like to have it on the first slide. Give us your business thesis. Tell us what you're doing right away. I think it's really important. And understand that it's going to change quite a bit, and hopefully quickly. One of the first competitions that I got to sit in on as a judge, I was with this other guy who was an entrepreneur, and he was a UC alum also. he was in pharmaceuticals. And I said, hey, what's the biggest kind of sign that you look for a winner? He said, I asked them, when did they pivot? And if they pivoted early, then I know that they're on the right track. And I said, really, you expect everyone to pivot? And he said, of course. And the question is, how quickly are you going to pivot? And I thought about that for a long time. Why do you think that that would be something that a judge would look for?
Because what you think will work often is how it actually works. So to figure out fast what actually works and then switch to it.
Exactly. And the people that don't have the egos to switch, that think that they know best, they know better than their market, they know better than their competition, they're the ones who are, they're not going to be able to pivot.
It's like your willingness to change, or like even if you're in love with your idea, the fact that you're able to kind of put it aside and then do something else, I think shows that like you're really set on winning, as opposed to you're really set on trying to just do this one thing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where most people trip up. I'm going to tell you a story. I don't know if I should, but I'm gonna. Toby Corey, who's somebody that I work with quite a bit, he's probably come here and talk to you all. Hopefully you all will meet him in the near future. He was the CTO at Cruise Foam. Do y'all know Cruise Foam? Cruise Foam is a brainchild of Marco Rolandi, he was the chair of the electrical computing engineering department. He also does he's a material scientist, and he's a big lover of the ocean and surfboards. And he was like, there's got to be a better way to make a surfboard without using styrofoam. And so he developed a shrimp base structure polymer that could use the same machines that extrude styrofoam can extrude this material made out of shrimp shell, which I guess is a really big like there's a lot of it. We're not going to run out of it. So Toby was totally all for it. Toby is similar to Rick Vargas. He had worked with Elon Musk. He's really kind of the top of his game. And he wants to save the world. He wants to help. And he just thought that Cruise Foam was it. I mean, there's so many ways that you could help the plastic problem. And I shouldn't name any names, but the CEO doesn't get product market fit, doesn't get customer discovery. He just doesn't get it. And you can have the greatest thing on earth, but if you don't know how to sell it, if you're not making it for what people want to buy, it's going to fail. So that's it. That's my thing. That's my pitch. That's what I'm sticking to. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any questions? It's free to sign up for this eFest. They're not really paying me. They call it, I didn't want that to sound wrong, but let me see if I can look them up real quick. Oops, sorry. So it's a university that hosts it. It's a smaller university. What's it called? Let's see. It's the Schultz Entrepreneurship Challenge, and it's in Minnesota. It's at the Schultz School of Entrepreneurship in Minnesota. So it's a 4-year university, and they have so this is what I did, this development grant application. And so I got this just on the promise that I would try to get people to sign up for the Yeah, there's another one. There's the whole huts, but these people, like I said, the whole journey, if we can get y'all in, the 3 days, it seems like it's just really pretty amazing.
What do you consider like some of the methods of going about customer discovery? Like, how do you just like go out and talk to people? Like, and how do you do? Like, you just find them randomly, or?
So the first ones, so there's when I teach the class, I actually have a little script to help people, and there's and I'd be happy to share this with you. There's kind of different stages of customer discovery. There's the beginning stage, and hold on one second. Let me see if I can find it. It's the 12 steps to 12 tips for early. So you have early customer discovery. And with early customer discovery, you're just trying to figure out what's the actual problem, and are there people that would want to talk to you about it. And when you're at this phase, you're just asking for stories. So Peter is asking you all for stories. That's what he's looking for. And what he's hoping for is that what he hears emerges from your pain points is actually what they're thinking of building. When he was talking to Manella and I today, several times he said, I am not selling you anything. I am not here to sell. That's the thing. You're not pitching. You're just opening your ears, opening to what could be the solution, a whole solution that you can get early adopters to use and do, help you develop it. Then after let's say, yeah.
Go in thinking about like one use case and asking questions about that use case. Is that not preferable? You ask about the entire picture first.
You want to ask for the entire, so didn't you have a good opening? You had a good case study. Who had the case study? Do you remember? You had the case study. I really liked the way you started your pitch. A case study is good, but it's just one. And like I said, these guys are looking for 50. They're looking for 50 interviews. If you took this class at Stanford when Steve Blank was teaching it, they were expecting you to 100. They were expecting you to do 100 interviews in 7 weeks. And if you so the same class is taught at the NSF, the National Science Foundation. They have an innovation core. It's this fast track funding mechanism that was actually how I was trained. They're asking for 100. And I think that 100 is too many, because now people are just going crazy and asking anybody. They're asking their grandmas just so that they can get the numbers. And and you need quality, not quantity. But 50, I think, is a good number. So you talk to 50 people. The reason you want 50 is because just like any data set, you want it to be a big data set. Because if you just talk to outliers, if the first 5 people you talk to are the outliers, you're going to be on the wrong track. And you're not going to know it, because you're going to be like, I just got validated by 5 different case studies. I'm on my way. And then nobody wants it. It's like, wah. So 50 is like 30 is what I asked for in my class. Iman knows. But 50, like if you're like hardcore and you're really going to pursue it, 50's good. Okay, so now yeah, Iman?
Are we going to use innovation within software?
We can certainly talk to him. So when I was at the National, I actually went to the NSF I-Corps with a grad student from UCSC. He got like $200,000, like 3 interviews, short interviews. He got $200,000, got sent to San Francisco to take this 7-week course, which I got to go with him as an industry mentor. And it was great because it was the same thing I was teaching. And then I was also finding where they were iterating, I was also iterating. So it was really validating for me. I'd already been teaching the class 3 years. when that happened. And again, it was like the 100 interviews. And one of the biggest problems or opportunities for, in this case, is you're collecting this data, but how do you know what you're listening for? How do you know to analyze this data set that you get? And then synthesize it to the point where you're like, okay, this is actually validating or invalidating something on my business plan, my business model. And so we were asked to use this platform. So the NSFI uses this platform called Innovation Within. And would you believe the guy lives in Santa Cruz that built it and has been iterating on it. So I did this NSF thing in 2019. I was like, I loved it. I loved this platform. It transcribes your interviews and then actually finds the descriptors that then matches it to your business model. And then you can go and it actually updates your business model, the business model canvas with the interview. So you can see how what you're hearing is affecting your business plan. And it draws these lines to it, and then it helps you keep track of the data and how it's actually changing your business model. So James is now using AI as a part of, and so there's a couple problems. First of all, coming up with the questions for the students had that, first of all. What are the right questions? In early business, in early customer discovery, you're asking for stories, you're asking them to go through their day, telling you where their pain happens in a specific, obviously, in something that you're interested in developing a product or service for. And then you're gathering that data, you're like, okay, you're starting to kind of get your finger on it. You're understanding that there's a certain group of people that have this problem and that the solution is starting to become very clear to you. So then in later customer discovery, I think it actually turns into expert discovery, because now what you're doing is you're going into the other parts of the canvas. You know what your value proposition is. You know who your customers are. You got a pretty good idea of how big that customer base is. Now you're starting to think about, okay, how do I price it? How much is it going to cost me to build it? Operations. Am I going to be able to make a profit off of this? Well, people that have gone through what you're doing right now, people that have built similar solutions and exited, hopefully very successfully from, those are the people you want to be talking to. You want to find out from this guy, Peter. He might be your next mentor. He might be the next guy on your advisory board. He might be the next, early investor. So all of these times you're thinking about how customer discovery is actually creating your network, and that these are your early adopters. These are the people that are going to be in love with your idea and are going to come back and say, have you built it yet? Did you add this feature? Did you think about this? And so he has come. He does workshops. If you all are interested in learning about Innovation Within, I would love to figure out how we can, he does charge, it's a thing, but we might be able to cover the cost for that. And in fact, he used Crown 90 summer class. Were you in that class last summer?
He did it winter too.
Oh, he did? I know that he was using you all as guinea pigs for your AI. Did you like it? Did you use it?
Yeah, it was fun. It was pretty good. It still had like all the transcribe features and everything. Like all the highlighting features. It was really useful, honestly. Because you can track like all your previous iterations and everything else. Like it was a fun class.
And it also helps you craft your questions. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a new feature from when I used it in 2019. AI wasn't out yet, and ChatGPT wasn't out yet, and it wasn't really a big part of processes. Now it's in every workflow, right? And so, yeah, I'm sure he would come to SCEE. He would love to. In fact, I think, didn't you invite him to come?
I did invite him to come and it's just really hard to match like a timing that works for him, but we'll try to get him out. He has mentioned that he doesn't want to come and he wants us to use the software. So most likely that will come up soon.
Yeah, and we're, you know, another thing that SCEE does is the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurial Development is connecting mentors with team ventures. We have a really strong network that's just building and building. And people are just calling us up all the time saying, hey, you know, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm retired, I want to give back, I want to hang out with some students. We're like, yeah. After we make sure they're okay. After we vet them. So you have early customer discovery, late customer discovery, that product market fit, that is the key. And then you make the MVP. Then you build it. You're sure those are the most essential qualities, the most essential features that your people need. But don't take it, you know, don't take it from me. You can talk to Peter, you can talk to other people. I know Peter Coate maybe not be the right person to talk to because he hit it out of the park first time out, done. So but most people actually, you know, do customer discovery and figure it out. You know, if it's a B2B, it's different than a C2C. Any other questions?
Yeah, what's Peter's contact info?
Why don't you just send them to me and then I'll introduce you. I was gonna talk to the demo people and see if it's okay if I introduce you all to Peter. I think it'll be great. And then we're gonna have, like, for instance, y'all should do Slug Tank. The top 3 will automatically get into Launchpad. Launchpad, we have this new kind of process where we open up applications. We had 40 last year. We cull that down to 20 applications. And then we do a mentor speed dating. And so there will be 20 mentors and 20 teams. And then basically we try to get you kind of in line with the people that are actually your industry experts. And you'll talk to 3 different mentors. And you'll pitch them your idea, and then they'll give you feedback on your pitch. And so you'll work your, you gotta go?
I gotta go.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll be done soon, I'm sure. It's 8 more minutes. Okay.
I was calling you guys too, but see y'all later.
Great to see you, Ishan. So hopefully we'll get him to come and be one of those mentors, right? We're actually doing the outreach right now for the mentors. James O'Connor was he's a great mentor. Several of the people that he's mentored actually have won some money in Launchpad. Yeah, I'm thinking of Lizzie. She won $10,000. She took Crown 90. She had a totally lame team. She went ahead and pitched by herself, and she won $10,000.
Your startup was called Farm It Up. It was vertical farming, you all, like think about like aeroponics, right? And it did really well, and she got paired with the mentor, I think,
James O'Connor.
yeah, and the Ventana guy, the surfboard guy.
Oh yeah, David Dennis.
Yeah.
David
and
Dennis.
he sold like $10,000 surfboard. It's super cool. But he helped her kind of formulate her MVP, and by doing customer discovery, right, out of Crown 90, that class, or if you all work with James O'Connor, customer discovery can help you validate, and then those people become your first clients. And so she did that. Yeah, and I did it too, and I did 42. It took me like 3 months, but.
Yeah.
It was before the AI, but
This well, can you answer questions about Slug Tank?
Oh,
You can
Ishan.
ask me after.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, Slug Tank's March 3rd.
Yes.
And It's super great. I know that. And then, yeah, Launchpad is May. Yeah.
Is March 3rd the deadline for submitting our slides or?
The application is due about 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
The exact date slips my mind, but I think it's the 18th.
Yeah, so mid-February is when that's due, towards the end of February. And then, yeah, we've had great judges, great teams. And then everyone can apply to Launchpad. And then this eFest is March 2nd. So people that are getting ready for their slug tank will be able to just apply.
For eFest, is it a requirement to have like, the team has to have like all undergrads, or can you have like UC 580 and UC grads?
I'm pretty sure it's all undergrads, but I'll verify that. But yeah. So we have the Launchpad, that will be May 21st at the Coconut Grove. The applications will be open after Slug Tank. Hopefully you'll just be able to just iterate on your pitch deck and apply. Super easy application also. They're all meant to be building on each other and applicable to each other. Yeah. Any other questions? So yeah, if you need a mentor, come to me. If you need access to, so the first thing to do is go to my LinkedIn and filter my people. And then I will introduce you to anybody you want me to introduce you to. And hopefully I'll know them well. But even if I don't, I've connected with them for whatever reason on LinkedIn. And I've done like blanket calls, like, hey, I'm teaching a Crown 90. Anybody want to be a mentor? And then I get, people want to be mentors. People want to talk to you people, young people. They, one of the things that you have to remember when customer discovery is that nobody asks people about their work. And so when they have somebody asking and really listening, it's wonderful. I've had students ask, you always ask for 15 minutes, something's easy, yes, and get a 2-hour, interview out of them because the person gets so excited and wants to like hear more or tell you more. And so there's so many people that want to talk to you. Just let me know and I'll help. Introduce you to Saul or introduce you to, whatever that guy's name is, Peter. Yeah. We have to connect also. Be connected. Anything else? All right, well, it was super cool to meet you all, and we'll be seeing each other at Slug Tank, and my email is nada, N-A-D-A, @ucsc.edu. And of course, other people know my email here, and yeah, we're building it. We're working on it. I want to get a fund for y'all. That's my goal this year. So yeah.